Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may find yourself. Welcome to the Anything Liverpool live stream with just me today, it seems. But that's completely fine because we have a lot of breaking news today regarding Hugo Ekitike, and it is here we go. Hugo Ekitike is going to be a Liverpool player. The fee has come in at around 95 million euros, which is about 82 million pounds, thereabouts. The initial fee is about 67, 68 million pounds, with the remainder in add-ons. Absolutely fantastic news for Liverpool fans everywhere that we now have our striker, with the thought process that we're probably going to go and get more beyond that. Obviously, Liverpool have still not been linked away from Alexander Isak, so the possibility of us getting both is still there, to whatever delusion you may find yourself to have. But before we get into everything and sort of breaking down how Hugo Ekitike is going to help us and how he's going to fit into Arne Slot's system, just a couple of housekeeping notes. Make sure to like and subscribe. Get your thoughts into the comments on this as well. I want to know everybody's thoughts on Hugo Ekitike and what you think about him. I can already see a couple flooding in already, and that's fine. We'll get to all of them throughout the stream. And then also, if you're watching over on Twitter at the moment, or X, or listening on your favorite streaming platform, make sure to follow us at Anything Liverpool. Jump over to our YouTube page also. It's on the pinned tweet in our Twitter page. Loads of new content coming your way. Now, I'm going to have a quick look down through comments here, and I can see people aren't happy with the fee. We have Jafir here saying, man, for fuck's sake, 95 million euro. That's fine. Considering the base fee previously, Isak went, including bonuses, for about 25 million euro less, which is about 20 million pounds. And this is coming off the back of Isak having 13 goal contributions the season beforehand, before he moved. Ekitike now has 34 goal contributions the season before he moved. Not even comparable. Even if you take in the previous seasons that Alexander Isak had at Real Sociedad, I think he had the guts of about 54 goal contributions in about 130 games. So only about 17 to 20 more goal contributions in 80 more games than Hugo Ekitike has played. This is an absolutely bargain fee, and those that think it isn't just aren't looking at it. TSLFC here, they're saying that we got robbed in daylight. It's not worth that much. Thank God you're not involved in the transfer market, because I guarantee you the players that you'd be picking are absolutely woeful, because I know you're in every reply and everything. Couple of questions here now. Are we still getting Isak after and Rodrigo? I don't know, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know if we're going to be getting Isak and Rodrigo. I think it was more between Ekitike and Isak. It was one or the other. I think the way Liverpool were looking at it is, we need a striker and we'd like to have them in as early as possible. And Newcastle were playing hardball, which is fine. They're fully entitled to do that. It's their star player and they'd be getting a record fee for him. But I think Liverpool reached the point where they're like, look, we need a striker. Isak is the profile we want. Let's get the next best, closest thing to that profile, which is Ekitike, who's nearly identical to that profile. So I think it was one or the other. Now, happy to be proven wrong. Happy for them to go and spend another 120 million pounds on Alexander Isak and blow everybody's heads off. But I don't see it feasibly from a financial situation. Just having a quick look here. He is better. He is absolutely. Let me have a look here, see if there's anything more here. Now that Ekitike is done, get Rodrigo next. Rodrigo's an interesting one because I would like to see him on that left wing. I think if Diaz goes, it's a high possibility. Bayern are also interested in getting Malik Fofana, somebody that Liverpool have been heavily linked with as well, and he's a very, very good winger. But yeah, let me know everybody's comments and thoughts in the comment section, and we'll have a quick look into this. Here from John saying, I can't figure out why we buy this guy for 95 million. He is more too expensive. We have waited for Isak. Isak would have cost you another 50 million pounds on top of that, because Newcastle don't seem to be budging for their 150 million pound valuation. So at minimum, you're looking at another 50 million pounds on top of what Ekitike is. And for Alexander Isak's injury history, that's not even close to being worth it, in my own opinion. I have a user to 521 here. Isak is still doable. Sales and Nunes, Diaz, and Elliott pays for Isak. Yes, they do, but will the club still go and pay that? That's very simple. Who are we signing for centre back? I think it'll probably be Mark Gahey, maybe that young guy from Italy, Giovanni Leone as well. We'll probably target a more experienced guy, Gahey, and a younger guy to develop, Leone. That's the way that I think we'll go about it. Just having a look down here now through the comments, seeing anything else. Finalising the Konate deal. Yes, it appears we are. I Breathe Music. We appear to be finalising the Konate deal. We had reports coming out from France earlier today that the representatives are still in talks. They stalled earlier in the season, but they're back in touch since about May, June. So we'll see how that goes. Liverpool are determined to renew him despite the interest from Real Madrid. So we'll see. If they're still in talks, we can just use that as a positive. Ahmed here saying I think we get Mateta after this and also Rodrigo and Gahey. Mateta will be a very good shout as a backup. I could very much see Mateta being a good backup. So will be very interesting to see how that plays out. Mateta is a highly, highly, highly efficient striker. He has a shot on target percentage of about over 50%. He gets the ball on target more often than not, and it's absolutely fantastic to see that. If he comes in as a backup, that would be a Diogo Jota, God rest his soul, replacement immediately. A guy that can come in and be efficient in front of goal and snap a chance when it comes up to him. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to very quickly move on to taking a look at how Hugo Ekitike would fit into Liverpool and Slot's style. So in order for us to sort of take a look at that, you need to sort of take a look at what Arne Slot wants in a striker. So if you look at Jimenez, who he had at Feyenoord, and how he used both Diogo Jota and Darwin Núñez this season, you can sort of see what he wants. So he wants a striker to be able to drop sort of to the halfway line, assist in build-up, kind of like a false 9-10, but also has the ability to get forward and get on the end of a cross or a cutback. So he wants somebody that's comfortable enough in build-up and technically good enough in build-up on the ball to be able to facilitate those around him. He also wants somebody that's good off the last shoulder, that has speed to be able to get in behind, and somebody that's a good ball carrier and wins their duels. There's a number of players that fit that mold, some more than others, but we'll touch on all of them in a minute. And the user 521 here saying that nobody has shut down the Isak rumors 100% either. Exactly, they haven't. However, I think that will come out now in the next couple of days, considering the Ekitike news has come through. And let me have a look here. Some from Andy Kirkman about what about one of the following scenarios: 100 million in Harvey or 75 million in Darwin. See, the issue with that is that Newcastle probably don't want either one of those players. The reason why Newcastle don't want either one of those players is because, well, they're after getting Elanga, which would take up Harvey Elliott's position on the right wing, and he's quicker, which seems to be what they're trying to go for. And they don't play a 10. They play sort of a 3-4 or 3-5-2, 3-4-3 style, or 3-4-2-1, with both Elanga and Barnes and Gordon will be like the 2 10s or the 2 to hold width, and then they have wing backs. And they'd end up having to break up that really strong muscular midfield of Joelinton, Tonali, and Bruno Guimaraes. I don't think they're going to sign Harvey Elliott to do that, unfortunately. It may help them in the long run with regards to feeding Isak, because Harvey's fantastic on the ball, but I don't think it's taking 2 steps back to take a step forward, if that makes sense. I don't think that will happen. And Darwin, I don't think they'll entertain that at all. I think Darwin wants to go and be a starter somewhere, and it's looking like Saudi Arabia will be where he's a starter. So we're going to get into the stats and how these players line up. But before we do, make sure to like and subscribe. Get your thoughts into the comments as we go, and I'll read out a load of them as we go. If you're currently watching on X or listening on your favorite streaming platform, make sure to follow us at Anything Liverpool. Jump on over to our YouTube page also. Loads of new content is coming your way. Okay. House presser from yesterday. Yeah, we'll have a look into that, actually, Charles. So house presser yesterday. It's odd because you can take it both ways. Eddie Howe is quite purposeful in how he speaks. I don't think he misspoke. I think maybe there was a Freudian slip or two in there. The way he spoke was a little bit defeatist if you read it on paper. But I think he is very confident that Isak will stay purely because I think fans are reading way too much into it. Like, if Isak is being sent, I can guarantee Isak will be on the plane to go over to Asia too, and there won't be an issue. Also, he hasn't really trained that much, so Eddie Howe is saying, "Oh, we sent him home due to the speculation around him." It adds fuel to the fire of, is he leaving? Is he staying? What's he going to do? And it sent Twitter into a meltdown yesterday of, that's not really encouraging of how you speak about your star player. But I think it was people making a mountain out of a molehill. I don't think there was anything major in it, Charles, to be perfectly honest with you. And this is coming from somebody that is happy to be proven wrong if they both get Ekitike and Isak. But I was always of the logical thinking that it's one or the other. Now, the only other problem, dare I say it, because I'd hate for this to happen, and that's not even me being sarcastic, because I don't rate him at all. I said, and have said for quite a long time, that it's either Isak or Gordon. And now that we're probably not getting Isak, it means we may end up getting Anthony Gordon. And I dread the thought of having to see that malnourished Claire Balding looking fucker sat in the Liverpool jersey. It's just not going to be a fun time, in my own opinion. World Football Extra mentioning here of Liverpool will pay a fixed fee of 69 million for Hugo Ekitike. Is it true? Yes, it is true. Multiple sources have said that they're going to pay a fixed fee of about 67, 68, 69 million, varying between different sources. And that it is going to then be made up of about 14, 15 million worth of add-ons. Reports are also coming out from other sources to say that those add-ons will be the likes of winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League, and your standard goal bonuses, assist bonuses, and whatnot. So it'd be interesting to see how much of them are realistically achievable, because if we go and win a Premier League and a Champions League next season and we have to pay an extra 14 million, is anybody really going to care? I doubt it, because that basically pays for it. User 521 mentioning about Eddie Howe's press conference. He also said something about how he appreciates a player's career and how short it is. He did, which would elude people to think that maybe he knows these big moves to big clubs only come along every so often. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Charles mentioning here as well that I suspect Isak told Newcastle he wants Liverpool. Let's wait and see. I think he did, but the issue then becomes Isak has 3 years left on his deal. So that then puts the price tag up. If Newcastle are staunch and they want their 150 million pounds, that's fine. They're fully entitled to do so. It's their star player. It's not, they shouldn't just bend over for a big team coming in. Isak would have to kick up absolute holy war beyond even what Gyökeres is doing at the moment in order to facilitate a move to Liverpool this summer for anything less than probably 130 million pounds. It's one of those that I don't think is in Isak's character. I don't think he's the type that'll just kick up a massive fuss about it and just absolutely down tools, go on strike, whatever it may be. But yeah, I apologize. I'm drinking my coffee. I've only woken up and seen this news, so I look like an absolute fucking mess. But it is interesting to see how this will go. I'm very excited to see Hugo Ekitike. Shall we get into some stats? I think we shall. Okay. If you bear with me 2 seconds, I'm going to get up these here because I have everything here ready for me. Okay. So this is one of the main ones that I kind of wanted to look at, which I found very interesting. So hopefully now everybody should be able to see this when this loads up. Fantastic. So players with at least 8 league goals, non-penalty, and 8 league assists last season. Liverpool have 3 of the top 10. I'm going to make this a little bit different. No, that's gone absolutely arseways. So Liverpool have 3 in the top 15. Mohamed Salah is top. Hugo Ekitike is 10th. Florian Wirtz is 13th. This is absolutely nuts. And Liverpool, and the 2 guys that we've bought this season are about 10 years younger than Mohamed Salah. We are fine. Not even Alexander Isak is there, which is interesting. Now, in fairness, Isak has all the goals. He doesn't get many of the assists, but to see Hugo Ekitike getting nearly 10 goals and 10 assists, and then Florian Wirtz getting 10 goals and 10 assists, and then you have Salah up here, just went off on a tear. Next season is going to be absolutely fantastic, in my own opinion. User 521 here mentioned it's now or never for Isak, though. 26, soon 27 before he gets to move. Exactly. That's why I thought maybe this summer it would be the thing, and I don't think we'll ever go in for him again, because next year, by the end of the season, he's going to then be turning 27 at the end of next season, more so moving into the 26-27 season rather than the 25-26 season. So I don't think it's going to happen. Genuinely don't think it's going to happen. Unfortunately, because Isak is an absolutely phenomenal player. He's one of the best strikers in the world at the moment. It's just, when this is all sort of linked to us, I didn't think we'd pay the fee for him. I didn't think he'd cause enough of a fuss to reduce the fee enough for us. And I didn't think Newcastle would budge on the fee. And this is all kind of now coming to fruition where all of that is true, which means we would have pivoted to our second option, which I have been on the Hugo Ekitike train for a good few months now at this point. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But looking at this with the statistics, we have mountains of creators and mountains of goal scorers in the team. This isn't even including the likes of Cody Gakpo that will be still in the team next season also, and probably a new left wing, which also would include Rodrigo if we get him, because then that is Salah, Wirtz, Ekitike, Gakpo, Rodrigo, 5 players who all can get about 25 goal contributions minimum in a season, that have shown they can at least. That's mental to have in a squad, especially with the depth. Charles here mentioning, I think Hugo hits 20 to 25 goals with Wirtz and Salah's assists. I think so as well. So if you actually look at the numbers, people will assume that he really underperforms his XG, which in a sense is true. But if you actually break down the numbers between big chances and non-big chances, when it comes to big chances, he nails everything, which is what we had a problem with Darwin Núñez. He missed so many big chances. Ekitike doesn't. And Liverpool last season created 112 big chances or 122 big chances in the Premier League alone. If Hugo Ekitike gets 20 of them in a season, he's bagging 20 league goals. He doesn't miss the big ones. What brings Hugo Ekitike's XG down is when he tries to make something from nothing. That's the issue. So that's what he had to do with Frankfurt when he was carrying them in the second half of the season when Omar Marmoush wasn't there. So he was the focal point of the attack, and he used to sort of try and make something from nothing and take low percentage shots to help the team, which is what happens with a team that's sort of mid-table, upper mid-table, that's competing for Europe. They have one guy that tries to go and do everything for them. Thankfully, he doesn't have to do that with us, which is brilliant, because he'll have Salah feeding him and scoring. He'll have Wirtz feeding him and scoring. He'll have Gakpo feeding him and scoring. Hopefully, we have Rodrigo feeding him and scoring as well, and he will be feeding and scoring all of them. It'll be a combined effort, and it'll be one of the best attacks in the world. Joe here asking the question of, do you not think there's going to be much competition between all these players causing a rift in the club? Winning fixes everything. I don't think anybody cares whatsoever. If you think about it, if on average we got all of our front four, let's say Florian Wirtz, Hugo Ekitike, Cody Gakpo, Mo Salah, if all of them get 25 goal contributions in a season, that's 100 goal contributions across our starting front four. No front four is competing with that in the world at the moment. Maybe PSG, but even so, that might be the only ones. Not Madrid, not Man City, not Arsenal, not Bayern Munich. Nobody is competing with that. I don't think there's going to be competition per se where people are taking goals off each other, because if Salah gets an assist and Ekitike scores, Salah still gets the assist and he could be on for a record-breaking season again. He was only 2 away from it this season, of getting a 2020 season. I think he could be on for it again next season. Salah's going to get his goals. That's going to happen. Florian Wirtz is going to basically be the quarterback and coordinate everything. So no, I don't think anybody's going to step on any toes. Winning fixes everything. If Mo Salah turns around and has another 30-20 season across all competitions and wins a Premier League and a Champions League, he's a shoo-in for the Ballon d'Or. So I really don't think Salah's going to care about it. Winning fixes everything for an awful lot of these players, and that will help an awful lot of their legacy. I'm not even going to attempt to say that name, but we don't need Rodrigo. We need Isak. He's the only option Ekitike will ball. Well, you see, we need a left wing if Diaz goes. So neither Ekitike nor Isak are left wingers, and you're not going to spend nigh on 100 million quid on players to play them out of position. That's just ludicrous. So Cuzzy here asking who's on the way out. I'd imagine Darwin. I'd imagine Diaz. I'd imagine a couple of loanees from the youngsters. I'd imagine Kumas is probably gone. I'd imagine Doak is probably gone. I can see Trey Neoni going on loan. I can see one of Simicast or Robbo leaving this summer as well. It'll be a late window move. I'm trying to think who else. There's a couple of young guys that are going on tour with them. They're traveling today. So Stevenson, Jaden Dans, Rio Engamoa, and Trey Neoni are all traveling. I can see Stevenson, Dans, and Trey all going away on loans this summer, and I think it'll be the best thing for them. User 521, Gordon is a better fit. No, he's not. Very simply, no, he's not. He is a transitional fit. So Gordon is good for Newcastle, and the reason he's good for Newcastle is because Newcastle don't face as many low blocks as we do. So Gordon is good when he has space in front of him to run into where he can utilize his speed, in my opinion. When he has to face a low block, which we face a lot of, bar maybe 5 or 6 teams, he gets neutralized, which is why they got Alanga. So now they have Gordon and Alanga on either side to play that transitional game against the teams they may face in the Champions League, and it'll help them there. You have to think as well how many low blocks Newcastle will face compared to us. They play a lot more basketball games where it's back and forth, where getting up and down the pitch quick is an asset. Whereas with us, we often have to break down a low block a lot. Rodrigo is better for that and still helps you against those bigger teams where it's a basketball game because he's brilliant on the ball with dribbling and carrying. Gordon's only real asset is his speed. He's not the greatest scorer. He's not the greatest facilitator. It's one of it, that's just purely why I see it. And don't fuck up here mentioning Rodrigo's better on the right wing, not the left. Rodrigo's natural position is the left wing. He's not a right winger. He's forced to play the right wing at Madrid because he has the versatility to do it, first of all, but neither Mbappe nor Vinny Jr. want to play there or can play there. That's basically it. Just here mentioning World Football. What do you mean? Look in the comment and access that Statistical between Hugo and Isak. I'm going to get on to them now, actually, if you would all like. So this is Hugo Ekitike with Alexander Isak. They're quite literally identical. It is mental. And with regards to how Ekitike is, he's a better dribbler. He's a better progressive carrier. He's just basically a baby Isak. And it's absolutely... this is why we got him. This is exactly why we got him. Because Isak was the template, because he's more polished and he has shown he can do it in the Premier League. Ekitike is Isak at Real Sociedad. That's why Liverpool wanted him, in my opinion. And I'm just going to have a quick look here and show you guys what I mean by this. So as I mentioned earlier, this is what Arne Slot wants from his striker. Now I'm going to zoom in on this so everybody can kind of see a little bit better. So this is what Arne Slot wants from the striker. He wants a guy that can drop into the middle of the pitch, pick the ball up from midfield, distribute to the playmakers on the outside, or carry the ball forward himself. He wants somebody that's very efficient in front of goal when given the big chances, because that's what Arne Slot's system creates. It creates easy, big chances. Also, he's 6'3" and is good in the air, helps us on set pieces, both offensively and defensively, and he's fast. Arne Slot wants somebody that's technically good on the ball, has the ability to run fast and press well. Ekitike ticks all of these boxes, and I'm going to show you how. So, if we take a look at, first of all, the goal creating. So, where are we here? So, the goal and shot creating. So, if we go shot creating actions, he's second only to Victor Gyökeres, who is doing it in Portugal in a terrible league. And he's not too far off it. He's better than Alexander Isak, only slightly. Fair enough, he's in the Bundesliga and he's only slightly, but he's also doing it 3 years younger than Isak, and he's doing it in a squad that doesn't have as good of players as Newcastle would, with the likes of Gordon, the likes of that midfield behind them, and so on. Darwin Núñez is just behind Isak, and then you have Benjamin Sesko that's here. I've listed all of these strikers because these are the guys that have been linked with us. That's essentially how it would be. But when we take it, just looking at here, PHB89 asking the question of did add-ons was taken into account in the price of players 10 years ago? I think it changes a lot here for Ekitike in terms of perception, whether it's 5 million or 15 million. Isak was 70 million euros, but that was a release clause. So that had to be paid in full by Newcastle at the time, which they did. Massive risk at the time because he was coming off a season that only had about 13 goal contributions. We've now paid a base fee of the guts of, I think it's about 8-9 million more, thereabouts, and a total fee, including add-ons, of about 15 million pounds more 3 years after the fact of Isak moving. And also for somebody that had 34 goal contributions in the last season. So I don't think it is. Hugo Ekitike is not a 10 and doesn't play on the left wing. I don't know how many times I need to say this. Isak also does not play on the left wing. They are both strikers. They have the ability to play either side, but you're not going to spend nearly 100 million quid on somebody to play them out of position. Their main position is the 9. Okay. Looking at the defensive actions then. So as you can see here, all right, this is how it will look. So as I said, pressing is majorly important in the Arne Slot system. So you need to be able to press in the attacking third and the middle third. If you take a look here, if I go and select this, he's not that far. So Darwin Núñez is an absolute monster at pressing in the attacking third, but he doesn't have the other aspects of his game. Ekitike, Gyökeres, and Isak are all fairly similar, not much of a difference between them, and then it kind of drops off at Benjamin Sesko. Then in the middle third, Darwin Núñez, again, absolute monster pressing defensively, and Hugo Ekitike is just second to that. So the attacking third and the middle third is where we want to focus with regards to the defensive duties, which is exactly what you want from your striker, being able to track back into the midfield and pick up an attacker and win the ball back. Then if you look at the defensive third, it's just Darwin Núñez absolutely being a monster in there as well, which is nuts. Again, Núñez is good with his engine and energy. He's basically a Joe Linton at this stage, to be honest with you. But it's interesting to see how this will develop going further. Now, when you look at the possession side of things, so as I said, Arne Slot likes somebody that is in the attacking penalty area, the attacking third, and the middle third. Somebody that can essentially work in all final 3 phases of the game: middle third, attacking third, and the penalty area. If you take a look at the middle third, he's second in how many touches he takes in the middle third compared to Benjamin Sesko. He drops into the middle third more than Alexander Isak, but that will be down to the fact that Newcastle have such strong midfielders. He doesn't necessarily need to. Then in the attacking third, he's second again only to Victor Gyökeres, who takes the ball up an awful lot in the attacking third and drives into the box. Similarly with Hugo Ekitike, gets the ball an awful lot in the attacking third and drives into the box. Then when you come to the penalty area, again, he's second only to Victor Gyökeres. Ekitike is from halfway line to the penalty area. That's where he operates. And it's absolutely fantastic to watch him because he can operate anywhere from sideline to sideline. He can pick up spaces. He's really intelligent in how he picks up these spaces. So he's going to absolutely tear up in our system with the likes of Florian Wirtz, who can move and roam anywhere. Mohamed Salah, who likes to come in and go outside. Cody Gakpo, that can come in and go outside. And then you have 2 fullbacks now that are going to be bombing up either side and providing lots of width for him there. It's going to be really, really interesting to see this going. So it's modern football. Every forward deserves to be able to play all the front 3 positions. They can, but it doesn't mean that's their best position. Cody Gakpo, you're not going to sign somebody to play out of position. Cody Gakpo played out of position for 2 years, basically, done well in the false line initially, and then now he moved to left wing. He just looks a much more electric player. And Slot made it clear that he wanted that versatility. Yes, but it doesn't mean that they're going to always play there. It's not that he wants versatility in that you're going to line up in the left wing position. It's that he wants versatility that if you drift out left or drift out right, or if you drift centrally, you're still as effective as you would be in your main position, be it right wing, left wing, 10, striker, whatever. It's the ability to stretch sideline to sideline and confuse defenses that way. Okay, we'll keep going with this. And then, as you can, like, looking at his dribbles as well and his progressive carries, like, Ekitike is absolutely nuts. Nearly over 4 a game, nearly does 50% of them successfully. He has the second most progressive carries per game. He's the best one for carrying the ball into the final third. It's just nuts. I don't think people realize how good this player is going to be, and I cannot wait for it. As we said, Ekitike is essentially an Isak clone, and I can't wait for everybody to be excited about it. But get your comments in, because I want to know what everybody sort of thinks about this before we do finish up on this sort of half an hour stream. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We've nearly 7,000 people watching us across YouTube and Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter or X at the moment, or you're listening on your favorite streaming platform, make sure to follow us at Anything Liverpool. Jump over to our YouTube page also. There's loads of new content coming your way. We very much appreciate everybody here and giving us likes and everything like that. So we have just user 25521 here again. Only 23 as well, whereas Isak is going to be 26. 82 million pounds is a not bad deal after all. It's not when it's a total deal. That's the way that I like it. That essentially is going to be about 70 million pounds overall, and then the rest is add-ons. And if they're some achievable and not some achievable, you could be looking at about 75 million pounds total for Ekitike, which I absolutely love. Don't fuck up here mentioning, just like you said, the ability to drift left or right, and both Ekitike and Isak can do that. I agree they can do that, but if you're going to play them both in the same team, one has to play out of position, or you change the system. And that's the same thing that we said about Newcastle fans saying you're not going to change your system and go to two up front. While we could go to two up front, I think it too much drastically changes the system. I think you're not going to be paying the money for both Isak and Ekitike to play one of the other out of position, which is why I think it's one or the other that we'll end up getting. Just going to have a quick look up through the comments here and see if there's anything like that. We buy Isak, we won't buy Rodrigo. It'll be Fofana or Rio, Gakpo and Ekitike. Red Scout TV saying that here. I don't think we're getting Isak and Ekitike. I fully believe it's one or the other. But if we were to buy both, yes, Rodrigo isn't happening. I think they're going to look at more of an actual natural left winger that has the ability to carry the ball and sort of replace Luis Diaz's profile, who is a very good ball carrier. Ekitike has lots of pace. Sorry, I got rid of that very quickly. Ekitike is strong and has pace, can score and assist. Yes, he does. Absolutely has bags of pace. I think his top speed is about 35 kilometers an hour, and Salah last season was clocked at about 36 kilometers an hour, both in the European leagues. It's a good deal for me. If it was 3 years ago, he would have cost about 45 million. Absolutely, he would, because he was leaving PSG at the time. He took a big pay cut to leave PSG. When he was at Reims in France before he moved to PSG, he was absolutely lighting the league up. He was so technically good. And if you watch the compilations of him, and people might call this blasphemous for saying it, and I'm not at all saying he is the same player, but the way he moves and the way he kind of glides around players and the way he dribbles and sprints really reminds me of Thierry Henry for some reason. Maybe it's the fact that he's also French, but it just really reminds me of Thierry Henry. The shiftiness, the ability to dribble around people, the technical aspect of the game where he's able to get around players in tight spaces with quick touches left and right, and is good off both feet. It's really going to help us with that level of skill. He hasn't got the shot power from what I've seen. Is it something he can work on? Absolutely. But if his placement is good enough where the keeper can't get it on the big chances that he gets, which has shown to be very true across his career, I don't think he needs power. Benjamin Sesko is somebody that has a rocket of a right foot. But if you have a rocket of a right foot, you tend, when things go wrong, to over-rely on that, which causes you to then take silly shots from silly positions in the hopes that your shot power can compensate for the low percentage of shot, and oftentimes it doesn't. Hence why you see Sesko just rocketing shots from left, right, and center. So that's kind of the way that I look at it. I'd rather somebody be a sniper than a bazooka, if that makes sense, especially as a striker position in our system, because the big chances that they're going to end up getting, he'll slot them all home. Absolutely. Charles asking, might have missed this. What are the chances of getting Rodrigo and Gahey signing? I think Gahey's going to be a very late window signing, purely because I think Palace will try and hold out for as long as they can. Then when it gets close to the end of the window, they'll think, shit, we need to sell him now and get something back, or we're going to lose him in 12 months or in 9 months at the season's end for absolutely nothing. So I think it's in Palace's best interest to sell, because Gahey clearly has no intention of renewing his contract, which means Palace either sell now or lose him for free in a year. That's the way I look at it. And for a team like Palace that requires incomings from sales, I do think it is something that they will need to do. Whether that's to us or elsewhere remains to be seen. I think he will end up coming to us, however, but it'll be a very late window move. With Rodrigo, it depends, because similar to Isak, it comes down to Rodrigo. Does Rodrigo want to leave? And if he does, what's going to be Real Madrid's asking price? I think they were set at about 100 million euros as they're starting, and it will come down from there. But I think it will come down a lot from there, because you can't ask for top dollar for a player that, one, has been left out of the squad since the new manager came in, two, wants to go, and three, the club are actively selling. All three of those points bring the value down. So I don't think it's going to be as big of a fee for Rodrigo as people think. I think we could probably end up getting Rodrigo and Ekitike, if we were to move for them, for a little bit more than what Newcastle want for Isak at their 150 million valuation. And for me, that's the smarter business of getting those two players. And you could probably end up getting Gahey as well for about 40 million more, for about 190 million pounds. And if Newcastle are so staunch on the fact that they want 150 million pounds for Isak, I think getting Gahey, Rodrigo, and Ekitike for 40 million quid more is an absolute steal. And then if you sold Harvey Elliott, sold Darwin Núñez, and sold Luis Diaz, all of a sudden you're probably paying the guts of 40 million, 50 million, maybe even 30 million pounds net across those three players. World Football Extra, is there a chance of Diaz to stay? It all depends on if a club meets our valuation. If our club meets our valuation, Diaz is gone. He wants to go. He's told the club, as per David Ornstein, that he wants to go. Now, I don't know if David Ornstein mentioned if he wants to go and go to Bayern specifically, but it'll be interesting to see where that one comes up. But we are going to finish up there. We thank you so much for everybody joining us. We have 7,500 people watching us across YouTube and Twitter. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Our YouTube link is in our Twitter bio, and it's also the pinned tweet on our Twitter page. Get your we thank you so much for everybody getting their thoughts into the comments as well. It was a great conversation back and forth. If you're currently watching on X or Twitter or listening on your favorite streaming platform, make sure to follow us at Anything Liverpool. Jump on over to our YouTube page as well. Loads of new content coming your way over the next couple of months as well. Thank you everybody for joining us on this wonderful Sunday, where the news is broke that Hugo Ekitike to Liverpool is here we go, as per Fabrizio Romano. And the fee is set at a fixed base fee of about 69 million pounds, with another 14 or 15 million made up in add-ons to bring it to a total of about 95 million euros. Liverpool have got their new striker, and it is going to be absolutely electric next season with the level of control that we have. Thank you so much for watching us. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their weekend.